West Coast and say, no worry, filling, and all the springs just trickling. Used to dive stick way and under power. Now it's better if you swim in your shower. All the video them gonna die. They say we have no national pride. I thought him as a ravens. They dying slowly.
Dr. Honeychurch, if you listen to the discussion, said surface rocks. That's why they had to blast. It was a different area, but now the rocks are on the ground. So they have to drill. It's different, so different. He also reiterated over and over again about the stones in the West Coast. You must listen attentively when we speak. I know I heard him say that they have to look on the West Coast and try to badge the stones in as well. Maybe sometime next week I'll try to get part of that interview.
For over 25 years, Dominicans, we no one of this. No worry about the streams, and your water just happen deep. We are destroying all of creation, and saying is for development. The river so vexed with the river goes. Once you win your path, you have to go. I love you as a ravens. They dying slowly. They shine and drying. And nobody don't worry. They shopping up a list. All in the forest.
On the telephone, hello, talk to me, yes?
Matt, John, it's me again. Matt, I want to be clear. Matt, did you hear me say give it to Dr. Honeychurch? He suggested badging the rocks from the West Coast to Wesley Marigot up there. Did you hear me say that, Matt?
You did say that. You did say that.
Okay. So I am saying he could get away of get rid of the fork tongue because he was using both sides of his mouth and whistling down the middle at the same time. Do you know major project at Cambridge? Who they gave it to, Matt? It's not Dr. Honeychurch?
Mm-hmm.
And I think they gave him some other project again to restore whatever. You know the situation. So I know a lot of people, they alone that can listen, Matt. Matt, let me give a man, Mr. Hodge, thanks. I bring $100 there for Tyson, Matt. Tyson,
yes.
Is the youth man name?
Tyson, yes.
Yeah, I brought $100. What's the name? Come on, Nikita,
yeah.
Yeah, took it. Matt, let me say something. Matt, you see, a lot of us, we are irrational. You know, we do not sort things out before we do them. Matt, you go by a river. You see a nice little pond or something, a pool or whatever. Matt, wouldn't you want to walk there and take a little swim and maybe observing something before you take a head dive, Matt?
True.
That, you know, and some of us are irrational. We just figure out it's a nice pool, we take a dive and we hit our head on a big rock. So I am just saying, Matt, we do not worry about the ramification, the far-reaching consequences of our actions. And I can support you, Matt. We could be the best of friends, Matt. If you're fooling around, you know the first person you're going to hear from is me. Mr. Pelte, boss of your brethren. But the other day, passed by your wife bawling them children saying, Daddy, leave mommy. Boss, Matt, you better done with that. And if you see me doing the same, call on me. I will not curse you. I will not disrespect you. I'll apologize to you as a friend. Matt, you cannot support a political party that is bent on destroying a country. Join with the Chinese and phasing out Dominicans, Matt. They are forcing us out. But we said Dominica, we branded Dominica as the nature isle of the Caribbean. And then we went further. We said the nature island of the world. Matt, garbage is everywhere. Gada Khan, Anthony Hayden, the Chinese, they're smashing up all our rivers. Not doing that foresters anymore. I mean, I know foresters used to always arrest people. You go and cut trees there. To the ports you used to pass with, Matt. And forestry already pull you up and call you and ask you where's your license, where you cut that, where you get the permission. No, it seems like it's a hands-off approach. Everybody can just do what they want in destroying Dominica. Years ago, Scott say, oh, he calling on Dominicans for everybody to get a piece of Dominica. Oh, you knew it was a pie. And it had been shared so quickly. And then you're asking people, please get something before it will not remain more for you to get. So Matt, when Dominicans sit down and tell me I'm a labor right, so you can watch Dominica being destroyed by an administration you support, and you're fooling yourself saying the administration is the government, even if you carried up all the garbage it has in the world. The government is not Labour Party. This is the Labour Party administration, not the government. So Matt, when we sit down there and we think Matt children misbehaving, they always acting strange in the neighborhood. We have food we throw in. We have shoes we throw in. We have clothes we throw in. We have money we can help. No, we're not helping. When they murder one of your children or burn your house, Saki said, nay, says, yea. What happened to the nose happened to the eyes. Look out for each other. Look out for Madame Nicolas. Bab Komawado Puidipe. Point glow ever who's sao. When your comrade beard catch fire, take water and sprinkle yours. Dominica cannot be on fire for me to talk about political party. Matt, it is better to perish fighting for freedom than to live as a slave. Blessings.
Blessings to you. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Yes. Somebody says Mr. Maximin, the director of forestry back then, must be turning in his grave after hearing Lennox Honeychurch. What a shame.
Even great fish and lobster, they're feeling the pressure. River of death.
He made some serious comments as well, huh? On the telephone, hello, talk to me. Maybe I'll try to invite him here. Let's see if he'll come. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yes?
Yes, good afternoon, Daddy.
Good afternoon to you, my brother. How you doing?
Okay, I get Matt. Matt, let me tell you. Retina and them cover most what I had to say today. I don't know if they was in my brain today. But I can leave out a little bit. You know, that third gender, Matt, the third gender, I know it's a two real gender. Trump was talking about them the other day. And Trump think they support any other gender than two gender. And Matt, why you see Dominica here today? Well, Lennox Honeychurch people know. 20 people know. They don't much know about the team and them. But Matt, you see the whole club, Peter Wickham, all of them, if they don't know what the tour is for, and where they must push their foot, and where they must accept in them out, Matt. Why do you think they don't care about the country? When they don't care about themselves, some of them taking stitches when they don't have to take stitches. So, Matt, you said that man just have to go. We have to just get them out, and I will.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. But the man has been using fossil fuel for decades to drive industry and energy. We are the one complaining about the global warming today. Let's just burn more because it has been used all these years. This is the argument Skerritt said. This is the argument Skerritt and others are making. Back then, we did not have our own ecologists and environmentalists who understood the importance of preserving our environment. If the government of the past used areas that should not have been used, photos and evidence to determine extent and effects, processes may be different and the extent may be different. His vague comments without details and evidence in this day of information and personal advancement is disingenuous. We're talking about the 70s. 70s. It's a long time. Maybe the 60s as well, you know. We have evolved.
We used to always post and say, don't worry about the sprinkling and all the
Maybe we should go back to the days when we used to use donkeys going up the hill.
Now it's better if you swim in your shower. All the videos they say we have no national pride. I talk him as a rivers. They dying slowly.
We're in the days of AI.
And nobody don't worry. They shopping up a list. All in me forest. Now she hydrated. Had to get in distress. All the champions at forestry.
214, hello, talk to me, yes. Hello? Nobody there. Hello, yes.
Good afternoon, Matt. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir. How you doing?
Matt, you see None of Family Church?
Mm-hmm.
The moment they had given him that job in Portsmouth, Cambridge, the man he's just a scary. Mr. got no power, no fame again. They all join Scarlet and to destroy Dominica.
Well, I'll have Mr. Honeychurch defend that. I can't speak for him. All right, so I can't make that. I'll allow you to make that accusation. Let him speak for himself. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
Just a few seconds, Matt. What Red say? Only Vieron and I. They say we have no national pride.
All the champions at forestry are no longer fair to protection. Please wake up to me before they finish our country. River of Texas, river of Texas.
Hello, 216. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. How are you, sir?
How are you, sir? How are you? Yes.
Good. I noticed that Lennox Honeychurch has been referred to as doctor. Doctor of what? What does he got his doctor in? And,
I think in conservation, the preservation. Yes.
I see. Okay. Anyhow, that term doctor being used rather loosely on people like that. I'm convinced, my dear friend, that if the Messiah were to land in Dominica right now, the Son of God, the one they worship, there are many Dominicans, not all, but there are many Dominicans who would crucify the Messiah again for Scarlet because they love that liar so much. He mama giant people and people worship him. When people like Lennox Honeychurch open their mouth, it's a shame, it's a disgrace. Thank you, sir.
As I said, let us also speak into the facts that he knows, right? I heard the minister of security who interviewed Mr. Honeychurch saying last night that this was not a set-up interview. So Mr. Honeychurch was speaking his mind on the facts that he knows, huh?
All the champions at forestry no longer bear the protection. Please help us, Father, and say a prayer before cemetery.
A big number written by Ian Jackson, Reds.
We have a river for every day. We used to always and say, don't worry about the sprinkling, and all the springs just trickling. Used to dive sick, we are under power. Now it's better if you swim in your shower. All the beautiful on the night. They say we have no national pride. I love him as a rivers. They dying slowly.
Someone says this tune should be our national anthem.
And nobody don't want it.
Or Calypso anthem. River of Tears.
All in me forest. Now dehydrated. And looking in distress. All the champions at forestry are no longer bear to protection. Join your voice with happy. And let us preserve our country. River of Tears. For over 25 years, Dominicans, we know all of this. Now our river streams and your water just ankle deep. We are destroying all of creation and things for development. The river so vexed when they come through. Once you win your path, you have to go. I love him at the rivers. They dying slowly. They trying and trying. And nobody don't worry.
Good afternoon to you, Labor Queen. How are you doing today?
deliverance. Now she dehydrated, and to him in his dress.
I've seen some good food there in Ooty, boy.
No longer bear her protection. Please wake up
And the Lillet Seaview Restaurant.
our country.
Next time you come to Dominic, invite me, okay, Liver Queen?
River of tears.
I'll wait for you.
Who believe all that it was true. In garden about country. Over in Wesley City, till we take it close. Can't sweep or wash your clothes. River of tears. River of tears. But you're so bad energy.
I want to go back to a conversation I had earlier this week with Mr. Clarence Question.
And you know, it is very sad that people without any information can just speak to what they hear without any evidence, no empirical evidence, nothing at all, just speak. Let me tell the caller, man, there is no copper mining taking place at Debois or in Dominica, anywhere, no copper mining. Matt, the reason why Debois is selected is because the delay of Crapo Hall, the injunction placed on Crapo Hall, that is why they had to go to Debois. And allow me to speak to you about that is why they had to go to Debois. Matt, tests were done on all the quarries on the West Coast. They found that the stones on the West Coast do not have the density to put on the runway. Because Matt, you're building a 10,000 foot runway, you're going to get in. This is, okay, I'm not an engineer. Let me tell people, I'm not an engineer, I'm an accountant, and a very good one at that. I'm an accountant, trained accountant, both American and British professional qualifications with a master's degree and a bachelor's degree. So I am not an engineer, but you are more engineers and you hear it, what is being said, and then you can decipher for yourself. Not the reason why you go to Debois, because it was found that Debois has the density, the wash fair. Let me put it in part of our people. The wash fair that they look for, they want to put on the runway. Okay? That is what they're looking for. And that is the place they can get the wash fair. Because you do not want to use the softer stone on the West Coast when an F380 or a 747 or whatever 777 land on there with the velocity and so it crush this stone and then you have an accident sometimes. And you know, it is very sad that people without any information can just speak to what they hear without any evidence, no empirical evidence, nothing at all, just speak. Let me tell the caller, man, there is no copper mining taking place at Debois or in Dominica, anywhere, no copper mining. Matt, the reason why Debois is selected is because the delay of Crapo Hall, the injunction placed on Crapo Hall, that is why they had to go to Debois. And allow me to speak to you about that is why they had to go to Debois. Matt, tests were done on all the quarries on the West Coast. They found that the stones on the West Coast do not have density to put on the runway. Because, Matt, you're building a 10,000 foot runway, you're going to get in. This is, okay, I'm not an engineer. Let me tell people, I'm not an engineer, I'm an accountant, and a very good one at that. I'm an accountant, trained accountant, both American and professional qualifications with a master's degree and a bachelor's degree. So I am not an engineer, but you are more engineers and you hear it, what is being said, and then you can decipher for yourself. Not the reason why you go to Debush. Because it was found that Debush has the density, the wash fare. Let me put it in part of our people. The wash fare that they're looking for, they want to put on the runway. Okay? That is what they're looking for. And that is the place they can get the wash fare. Because you don't want to use the softer stone on the West Coast when an F380 or a 747 or whatever 777 land on there with the velocity and things, so it crush the stone and then you have an accident sometime, create a hole on the runway. So you want the stones to be able to withstand the weight of the plane when it lands. That is what I'm hearing. I said I'm not an engineer, that is what I'm hearing. So Debush, they're looking for the wash fare.
But I'm interested that you may be saying that. Of course, you admitted you're not an engineer and we're having a discussion. I'm hearing from the geologists, people who know better, people who understand rocks. And we had a professor there from Jamaica. I've been a university lecturer for over 30 years in Jamaica. He's saying that the rocks from Debush is not as strong as what we have in the Quapaw Hall area. So you're saying something different. So who are the experts? I'm asking now at this time because we're comparing notes, Clarence. Who are you presenting as the experts when somebody else is saying something completely different? Are you there, Clarence? Talk to me.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
I do not know about the experts we are talking about. But I know that the Chinese also have their own lab where they do their testing. And you cannot tell me the Chinese are not qualified.
I'm not saying they're not qualified, but we basically, because you have to compare notes. Tell me what the qualifications of the Chinese are compared to the geologists who have been studying rocks for close to 40 years. Let's just compare notes. Let's see what the Chinese have to say, and let's hear what the other experts have to say, Clarence.
Geologists have not done any testing on our...
Clarence, I'm talking about the geologist from Jamaica who came in, who is a UE expert there. So you're saying that the Chinese may have more knowledge about our terrain than the Chinese do?
No, the Chinese do the test. They do their testing. They test what they have a lab tested everything that is going into the airport. Not what they're looking for, and I tell you, there's a quantity of wash fare.
I cannot dispute what you're saying, but Clarence, where are these reports showing that Debush rocks are denser than the West Coast, Clarence? We need to have that information. Where are the reports that say that Debush rocks are, have a better density than rocks we're using there in Quapaw Hall? I'm asking just for clarity, for transparency. You there?
What's there?
Well, can we Dominica, see what's there, what the Chinese have produced, and compared to what we're hearing from other geologists and soil scientists?
Listen to me. You are arresting.
I'm not saying, Clarence, I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm saying let us see the report so we can compare notes. The other geologists, the other soil scientists are saying something different than what you're saying. You have admitted that you're not an expert, Clarence. I'm saying let the people who are asking questions see the other geologists so we can compare notes and we can go forward, Clarence. That will be very easy. Wouldn't you agree?
First of all, you're making a serious error saying that there is copper mining.
No, we're not talking about, forget the copper mining issue. We're talking about the density of the rocks that was brought up there by your expert. The Prime Minister says he's experts, meaning the people on the ground are experts, so the other people are not experts. So I'm just saying let's compare notes, Clarence. I'm not disputing what you have to say about wash fare. I'm saying bring the notes forward and let us compare and let's move forward from that discussion. Compare notes and let the best decision win. That's what I'm saying.
Let me tell you something. I said something I don't want to read it on your radio, right? But that is what to delay the construction of the international airport. Because Randy wanted the construction of the international airport. There's a simple solution. As Edison
So you're saying if the injunction does not say that they stop the mining of rocks up there, or the exploration of rocks in that area close to Edison James. They're saying that you have to work from maybe 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and you can continue to of course explore those rocks. Did the court report say stop it? Did the court report that you're referring to, did they tell you stop Quapaw Hall? Did they tell you stop Quapaw Hall?
The case is not completed, but they curtail the operation of the quarry and the crusher. They curtail it from 6 to 7.
But you were using the rocks there from Quapaw Hall. All of a sudden there you say you want to go to Des Blanches, and you find out all of a sudden, Clarence, that the rocks in Quapaw Hall or the rocks in Des Blanches is stronger. It's very, very strange. It's stronger than that of Quapaw Hall. When did you decide to go to Des Blanches? When?
Matt, listen to me. You question me, you don't question other people when they talk. No, listen to me. Matt, when they were building Melvin Hall Airport, that is where they took the stones from, in the very same area. When Miss Charles was resurfacing Melvin Hall Airport, that is the very same area in Des Blanches, where they took the stones from. So there has been a history of quarrying in the area. There has been a history of quarrying in the area. You can ask Enoch Ronnie Church, or he's a historian in Dominica, not a historian. You can ask him. There has been a history. When Sintra was building the Northeast Road, that is the area, because the density of the stones there. Now this is all we're asking. The density of the stones there is much harder than those on the West Coast. If not, if you can't get the stones from there, you have to get the stones in St. Vincent or bring it in from Canada.
But the experts, the overseas experts that we have, who's actually testing the rocks as we speak, are saying that this is not the case. That when we try to explore, this is not the case. The other rocks in the area, Quapaw Hall, may be better to use. So why do you insist that you want to go to Des Blanches to explore the rocks there? You're saying that it's wash fair, so you can't find us wash fair anywhere else? I'm asking you, Clarence, can you find it anywhere else?
Right. Not the fact of the matter. You want to stop the delay or stop.
Who's the we that want to stop, Clarence? When I speak to the experts there on the ground, the scientists, there's no discussion about stopping the airport, Clarence. They're saying that let's bring the facts forward, and maybe there are alternatives. I'm not hearing any of the experts you're talking about saying they want to stop the airport. So I don't know if this argument is making any sense.
That is a fact, man, because they try to, bring that thing out. All those other people now is when they see when doing the thing, when they see the work on the international airport. Because all along, the very same people, I used to be up there one time I see a set of them, the Wednesday workers who up there asking to stop the airport. Asimati and all of them stop in Wesley. Today you see in the airport that's taking shape. When I told you a plane can land there, you tell me no, people laughed at me. When you see the runway that's taking shape, everything that's taking shape and is moving nicely for completion in October 2027, commissioning. All that is required is the quality of the stones to put on the foundation before you put the asphalt on it. On the runway. That is what it is. And you need about 400 to 450,000 cubic meters of stones. That is, and I said, I'm not an engineer, but you're hearing things when you are working among people.
All right, it's 2:34 in the afternoon. The conversation I just saw that should repeat there with Clarence Christian. Somebody from Guadeloupe is now saying, Matt, this is BS. Gadakan, of course, we all know we heard of Gadakan, took Dominica's sand and stone to build the runway in Guadeloupe. Dominica's stones that build the Guadeloupe airport. So what are you guys talking about? That's the stones that they use to build the airport in Guadeloupe. So why do you feel you have to use a different rock from what was being used on the West Coast, unless we have bigger planes. And you know what I've of course found out that the rocks that they used from Debauche was actually exposed there on the hill. So they used some of these rocks in the Debauche area, but now you have to go down, deep down, scouring the mountain to get the rocks that they're looking for. So it's chalk and cheese. The rocks that they used at the Melville Hall was exposed there in the mountains, and they just brought it down. But now you have to go thousands of feet down. So what are you going to be doing with all the soil? It's a totally different story. Bringing down a whole mountain to just get a few rocks, huh? And you just heard Mr. Honeychurch last night saying, why can't you badge the rocks to the site? I did not say it. Dr. Honeychurch, that most people revere, was the one who said it. Hello, talk to me. Yes? On the telephone.
Yeah, good afternoon. Mark, good afternoon. How are you doing, my brother?
Good afternoon to you, Brian. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Mark, I was enjoying your conversation with Clarence Christian,
Okay.
especially how you allow him to tie up himself, because he spoke of the quarry at Pegua, Matt, where they have the stones and they can get the volume required. But again, Matt, he tried to confuse the issue, and I'm thankful for your correction that you made him know that the injunction has to do with the hours of work, because they have been disturbing not just Mr. James, but the entire village, because they have to drive through the village of Wesley, drive through the village of Marigot at those ridiculous hours of the morning, Matt, and late hours of the night. So the injunction that Mr. James placed on them, it, as you rightly indicated, is not to stop the operation, but to determine the time of operation. Matt, and if you notice, Matt, before I move on to the next point I wanted to make, that Matt, if you notice, he doesn't have any problem with the quality of the stones at Pegua, because it's basically in the same area, Pegua, Debauche. He doesn't have problems with that. So you notice now that they're trying to grapple for justification of being at Debauche now. And one of the points that we need to make, Matt, fundamentally, is the fact that in their plans for the international airport, Matt, their plans that they are implementing before the EIA, before an EIA is completed, Debauche was not the alternative quarry site, because in the plan they had to list an alternative quarry site, and Debauche was not that site listed. Debauche was nowhere in the picture.
That's true.
When it comes to international airports. Matt, then at the last press conference that they had up there, when they made them, they embarrassed themselves again, Matt, Miss Janelle Brisbane asked a very fundamental question, which to date no one has answered. And we need to keep that question before our government officials. The question was that Janelle asked, who gave the go-ahead to commence or to begin what we see happening at Debauche? Who gave the permission to do that? Which department, which government official, who? Check. Who gave them the permission so that they could put down all that concrete that they did on the side of the road, do all those things that they did to cause all the pollution of the river and so on? Who gave the order or the permission to the company, to the Chinese or to the NMC to start that project, Matt? And up till today, Matt, not even Mr. Skerritt has answered that question for us. And we need that question to be answered, Matt, because we've seen things are being done back to front, and it has become settled practice over the years. Matt, all of those university graduates, the engineers, the project managers, and so on, people that boasting they have masters and bachelors and doctors and so on in Dominica,
especially those working in the government service, Matt, they should be ashamed of themselves. Because in university, in schools, one of the things that they teach you, especially with respect to project management, is that the ESIA is very important. That document must be completed, discussed, and so on before any project commences, because it is an important document in guiding the implementation of the project, Matt. And you have government officials admitting over and over again that the ESIA for many of their projects, the airport project, the quarry projects, none of them are completed, but the projects have been started. And then we are concerned now the projects, as Dr. Pastel indicated, it's already too late, but it's not too late for us to start to talk to see what we can save, Matt. The projects have started, Matt. And we right now, our minds are on mitigation methods, because they tell you, okay, well, yes, development has a price. And if you mash up the environment and so on, we can implement mitigating methods and so on to restore the environment that you've destroyed. The question with that restoration, Matt, the question which is lingering in my mind, Matt, has to do with the cost of restoration. What is the estimated cost of restoring the damage created, Matt? What is the restoration cost? And who will be responsible for bearing that cost? Because it is not MNC, it is not the Chinese. Who will be responsible for bearing the cost of restoration? And I say it's not MNC and the Chinese, because the airport that we are building, we are doing all that destruction in the name of the airport. Okay? That airport will be owned supposedly by the people of Dominica. So that is why I would imagine any cost to restore the mountain that they're going to take out to build the airport, that cost must be borne by the government and people of Dominica, Matt. So that is another consideration, Matt. And then can we trust the government to do the restoration works in light of the cost of restoration and in light of the fact that, Matt, that we have been hearing about cost overruns with respect to this particular international airport? Because one of the things that they need to tell us, the public wants to know, is how much money has been spent in the on that international airport so far. Because we know of a number of unfortunate and unplanned circumstances that they were confronted with, which would obviously have an effect on the overall cost. So we need to get clarification with respect to the whole cost factor, Matt. Because if one thing you're telling me, you're taking out my mountain, and you tell me you're going to put it back, I need to know how much it's going to cost you to put it back. And I need to know what is your plan to raise the revenue that it will take to pay for the restoration. Because passports not selling again. And we know that passport was the major source of your income. And passport is not selling again. Agriculture is on the decline, tourism, manufacturing non-existent, and so on. So we want to know that restoration cost, okay, of that project that should not have even been started, because we have not seen a completed and an approved ESIA that has been discussed with stakeholders, the public, and so on. We have not seen that. And as far as we learn in school, to the professionals in government, those degree people with doctors and masters, they taught us in school that before you start a project of that nature, the ESIA must be completed, approved, and discussed. And none of that has been done, Matt. So we continue to make joke in Dominica and allowing that type of incompetence to be settled practice. So we automatically now accepting this back to front type of business, cart before the horse, and then we get into some discussion. Matt, I want to recommend or to suggest to you, Matt, you get somebody like Lennon, who has a very good idea of ESIAs and construction and so on, and spend some time with him on your program, for him to explain to our listeners the absolute importance of that document that we've been talking about, the ESIA, and why it is a major mistake, a blunder, for any project of those nature to start without a completion of a proper ESIA to be discussed with the stakeholders. Let Lennon talk to it. Because you see, Matt, it's troubling to me that as a populace, especially those people with the degrees in corporate management and so on, that they have not seen the importance of that and the dangers of we not practicing that very important principle in terms of completing an ESIA, discussing it, threshing it out before you start any project, Matt. So that's why we need to spend some time on the importance of the ESIA to highlight all what is happening there, the joke about all what is happening there, Matt, that we have a project of that nature, a destructive project of that nature, and we're fighting now about mitigation methods, what we have to put in place to mitigate and whatnot and so on. Not taking into consideration the cost, okay? And then the big question, how are we going to raise that money? Matt, we need somebody like Lennon to come and
explain. I agree with that one, and I'll try to so I can get Lennon again. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. What a mouthful there. Come back and take a few voice notes. It's 2:46 and 30 seconds.
Hey, Mr. Prime Minister, do you remember me? But I am a worker, not a worker. What's that I hear about this mining up here? Better take care, this could be a big blunder. Political thunder. What did you consider in your prayer? What does Dominica have to gain? Where in the world you ever hear a black nation ever prosper from any foreign mining venture? You need to review Caribbean geography, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. This is all mining by foreign companies. We don't mind. We don't mind. We prefer if we live in poverty. We don't mind. We don't mind. We don't mind. It could be for silver. Even if we don't mind. It could be for gold. Even if we don't mind. It could be for copper. Even if we don't mind. It could be for oil. If those oil live all, it's not a crime. But we don't mind.
It's already 2:48. More voice notes at this time.
Hello, Matt.
Yeah.
Matt, boots in the ear. Matt, you know that I have done quarrying and I deal with rocks and supplying of rocks from Dominica to foreign countries. Matt, tell Clarence, give you the offset by poundage of the difference in what the stones in the bush and the stones in Kwaku Hall and the stones in the West Coast is. Give it to you pound by pound in figures. And when you finish doing that, you will realize that this man Christian is not more than the donkey that carries the weight for the farmer. Bye-bye.
Good afternoon, Matt, and good afternoon to all Dominicans. Matt, thank you for staying on that topic. This is very close to my heart since I was brought up in the Concord Valley and an area that I know very well. Matt, I listened to the interview between Rayburn Blackmore and Dr. Lennox Honeychurch. And what I drew from that interview was that Dr. Honeychurch is not really sold on the dredging in the Debwash area as to where it is right now, which is, the dredging of the mountain and our watersheds and the number of tonnage of mud or clay, as he said, that is supposed to be removed from there. And he said that he could not really state what this is going to be a few years down the road, although he drew some inferences as to certain areas in Dominica that was dredged, and how nature has really rebirthed itself. But he could not really give any information as to how that was going to impact us. One of the things, Matt, I took note of, he stated for the record that in the day when the Melville Airport was constructed and they needed those same iron fair rocks that the Clarence Christian spoke about, he said that it was taken in the Debwash area, but he also noted that it was not in the area where the dredging is taking place. He said it was closer to the bridge. It was around the bridge area on both sides of the river. And Matt, those rocks are still there today. Those rocks are still there. He also stated that Crapper Hall has the very same rocks. And he noted that there were quarries elsewhere. Matt, I find it very strange that Rayburn Blackmore would choose to interview a historian on the issue of, what is going on in Debwash, the disemboweling of the mountain in Debwash and the effing up of our watersheds, Matt. But he would not bring none of the geologists. He will not bring an environmentalist, nor an engineer on his program, so that, we can learn something, because they would be speaking from an informed position. So we are not anywhere, we are not better off because of, in terms of knowledge of that interview that he had with Dr. Honeychurch last night. Dr. Honeychurch is a historian, and no doubt he's an experienced Dominican in wide areas, Matt, of expertise. But he is not a qualified environmentalist. He's not a qualified engineer, and he's not a qualified geologist. And I think, Matt, I don't know at what point, well, I don't want to tell you how to run your program, but I believe that program should be aired so that Dominicans can draw for themselves as to what Lennox Honeychurch, conveyed last night. I saw a lot of manipulation by Rayburn Blackmore trying to get Dr. Honeychurch to speak the language that he wants him to speak in reference to the discussion that they had last night. But Dr. Honeychurch is an intellect, and persons like Rayburn Blackmore have to be born again to manipulate the mind of that man. Matt, he spoke about the environmental impact, and that as to how it was going to affect the people who live lower down my community, that is the Concord area, and other persons who use the river. And he also took into consideration statements from Annie Edwards, Afi Made, and other persons, because he knows that these people have genuine concerns based on their studies, based on their experience, and of course the conquered people, what they are directly experiencing, not being able to have the use of the river. And Matt, Rayburn Blackmore is talking about blasting. They don't want to blast the rocks, the rock in by the Dave Wash area. So he feels that, from what I gather, Rayburn Blackmore feels that if they go down into the bowel of the mountain, they would be able to get the rocks they're looking for without having to do any blasting. Isn't that hypocritical, Matt? That Rayburn Blackmore is talking about blasting, and he's not concerned as to what the Wesley people endured, blasting morning, noon, and night. I never heard this man had any concerns as to the blasting that was going on in Wesley, where the people have been placed in a hell zone, cannot sleep, cannot rest, and they cannot even think. But he's talking about blasting. Matt, I really, really don't understand. But it is worth, that interview last night is worth a listening ear. Thank you.
I will download it and try to play it for you sometime next week, okay?
By the sixth day morning, the whole creation was given birth. And then God made man and give him dominion over every living creature around the earth.
Somebody says, look now, is a loan for the bridge for Emzor.
We all know it happened.
More loan to fix forests coming next. Loan.
We witness the paradise lost. And his mother who ended up paying the cost. That's what we do. Mother Earth is crying. He said the stuff people do. Mother Earth is dying because the stuff people do.
Somebody says, man, I've asked similar questions like Brian is asking right now. And that's why I continue to say the airport development will cost in the excess of $3.5 billion. Similarly, the investment in the geothermal project and now the international airport. What is the return on our investment, and critically, how over what time? How many years in the future will we realize the returns on that investment?
But I am nowhere to no kind of engineer. But you cannot tell me rocks that under the earth for years, millions of years, taking water all that time, 24/7. I can't even put a number on that. And you're telling me it's harder than taking rock on the West Coast that have sun that is really dense. And I don't understand. That doesn't make no sense. Some kind of mission is on, and Clarence have to stop that foolishness because they do what they have to do with Dominica property, and they have some account to give for the Chinese. That's what I believe, and that's what I think that's going on. Because if you want solid rocks, you cannot get no solid rocks below a mountain that has so much water. I don't care how much engineering you can have. That's my take on that.
Mother Earth is dying.
Somebody says, man, it's obvious that they're building reportedly a Chinese military airport.
We got to become more competent. The way we protect the environment and fight for all that
In engineering like this guy, But like use a range, so no place in nature will match exact meaning. You more than likely have options and choices in Dominican. The view of a geologist. So why are these people are not looking at the alternatives? It's 3 o'clock. We're going to take our final call. Of course, this conversation will continue on Debauch, I'm sure. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yes? Quickly.
Good. How are you, Matt? Good afternoon.
I'm here, man. How are you doing?
I am one of the opposition supporters who fully support the building of the international airport.
Okay.
But I can tell you, my brother, we travel already.
Okay.
I think you know St. Martin. St. Martin is sand.
Yes, I know that.
And when Terence Christian talking about they need rocks to put on the runway
The
and
tarmac,
stuff,
yeah, the tarmac.
Nah, something is fundamentally wrong with what he's saying because St. Martin ain't got no rocks. All they do is concrete, and the international airport is up there perfect. Big airlines, everything coming there. So I want to know what Terence Christian is talking about because his explanation making me feel now that something is wrong, and it looked like the Chinese, which I don't have a problem against, it looked like something is happening up there. It's something they want up there. Because, again, he did say the Chinese have the test, the lab, the this and that. Why can't it be public, my brother? Why? The Chinese holding the Prime Minister hostage? I want to know about that. But what do you think?
I think you're on point at this time. Why can't they make the reports available for the public? Why? Thank you. Have the whole process, the project, transparent so everybody can see for themselves. What's up?
Matt Clark's talking about making an issue about the previous caller getting information without facts and this and that. But he's also coming on the radio spewing his garbage without facts, without even knowing what he's talking about. And confusing himself and making a mess of it. So tell Karen, if he criticizes, find out these facts himself. Find out the facts of the issue himself.
All I'm asking for is a little transparency. Let the Chinese, if they say they're experts, show the reports so we can compare it to the other experts, regional experts, and our own local experts. I want to continue to, of course, congratulate Gary and Ms. Brisbane for doing such a wonderful job on exposing the ills of exploring Debauch. Dominique, I'll be back with you tomorrow morning on different show. We'll be back with the talk. I can still see phone calls coming at this time. Just make it short so I can get out of here. Are you there? Yes.
Yeah, Matt, I wanted to get out of here and get all the rest you can. Matt, watch those big planes or small planes. Maybe big planes particularly. Matt, when the lever where the wheels are come out, Matt, you watch that when it touch how it have a shock absorbent, Matt. And it's flying almost hundreds of yards over the runway before it touch down. So Clarence is not a plane they're taking 200 feet or how much feet in the air and just drop on the air on the airstrip, you know, man. It's a thing that is being cushioned by shock absorbent, and the tires again is air that in it. So Matt, when it touch down, sometimes you have a rough landing based on the wind and whatever it is, but most players just see them do rum and they bump up like that, bump up. So it has shock absorbance. Current is not 10 tons or how many tons of the plane weighing, and they're just dropping it on the runway. Prudum. Matt, tell Clarence that for me when you see me.
I'm sure he's listening, I'm sure. I'll be back if God is willing on Monday, huh? Can we squeeze in one more call? Hello. The more I want to go, the more calls. Are you there, caller? Unfortunately, could not connect. See you around tomorrow morning. Thank you. The pleasure was mine. Let's continue to have a good discuss. You can agree to disagree. This is what they're talking about. This talk on the block. Good afternoon, everybody. Have a great weekend. At the opening of Carnival Grand Bay tomorrow. There's another opening, I think, there in Salisbury Valley. Just be careful. Somebody saying, "Oh, you heard Captain Blessings, Captain Blessings." Blessings, I suspect you should be a pilot now, huh? When you become the captain, make Clarence your co-pilot, okay?
We can't celebrate our motherhood soul, and she's going to give up the ghost when she can't take no more. No more. Da. Motherhood is crying. You say to stop people in the Motherhood is dying.
I'm gone. Bye-bye now.
Well, attitude got to change. Priorities rearrange. We got to become more competent. The way we protect the environment and fight for all that we do. Fight to save the world. In case you don't know, the planet is dying slow. What a sad way to go. Hey. Ding, 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 ding.